Free beer and hot wings in the morning. Grand Rapids rocks all day. 97.9 GRD rocks.
Mostly sunny, mild today. 55 the high. It's 33 downtown. The Score brings us every week. Not only a great place to watch football or gather with your friends or everything like that. The most beers on tap in all of West Michigan. They also bring us the one and only Ray Bentley. Former Chippewa. Former Bill. Much more, too.
Never a Spartan,
He's an author.
but always an apologist for them.
Yeah. Ray Bentley joins us. Hi, Ray.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you?
Good to hear your voice again.
You guys are like full of it this morning, aren't you?
Dude,
Yes, we have been. Yeah, today's been a little,
Yeah.
little
ridiculous, Ray.
absurd.
Ray, sometimes when you start anew, you look back first. And last week you said Michigan would handle Penn State, and it was like sometimes a hand just fits perfectly in a glove.
You know, if you recall, 2 weeks ago, I said that they would beat the Spartans, too.
Yeah, you really like Michigan.
So you're kind of catching on to my deal here. Every time I say Michigan is going to win, they lose. So they're going to win the rest of them.
Yeah, right.
They have Rutgers this weekend at the Big House.
Okay, I like their chances on that one. How do you feel about that one, Ray?
Yeah, Ray, let's hear what the actual outcome will be. Is Michigan going to win?
Well, I got Rutgers all the way in this one.
Oh, well, I'm putting all my money on Michigan.
Yeah.
Rutgers has
No,
won.
you know what? Rutgers don't count. They ain't no good.
No,
This is like an exhibition. This is a scrimmage.
The community
more than
college,
anything.
essentially,
Right.
Rutgers
This
is.
is a healing
Rutgers has
game.
won back-to-back Big Ten games for the first time as a member of the conference. I mean, you can't take that lightly. I mean, they beat Illinois and Purdue.
Oh, I was not aware that
Yeah.
they beat such great powers.
Yeah.
Let me rethink that. Okay, I'll take Michigan.
Ray, I heard a conspiracy theory about because if you think back to when it was announced that Rutgers and Maryland would be joining the Big Ten, it was pretty shocking until you think about, okay, well, they get all the TV sets from cable for the Big Ten network from the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area, and then Rutgers gives you that swath of New Jersey and gets you on cable television in New York. But I heard another theory that actually makes it kind of brilliant. And the theory was, see if you believe this. I actually do. If not, it's wonderfully convenient. The NCAA was moving in that direction at that time of saying the way the games were going to be counted as far as judging whether or not you deserve to make it to an elite bowl game or to the college football playoff, you couldn't play soft schedules. You had to play against Power 5 teams. And by bringing Rutgers in, you're able to increase the number of games on the schedule from 8 to 9. And then if your teams, like a Michigan, a Penn State, and an Ohio State, and a Michigan State, are in a really difficult division like they are, it's all right. You get a cakewalk once a year, and it counts just the same in that scoreboard mentality as if you had played someone else who's a little better.
Well, hell, they could get some worse schools than that. Why not pop CMU in there?
Well, because Rutgers is big and also brings along the TVs.
Yeah,
that Mount Pleasant TV market, man. That
I
don't
know.
do a whole lot for
Pretty
you.
strong. I
Of
mean,
course, I wouldn't have thought Rutgers would do much either. People in New Jersey couldn't care less about Rutgers.
I know, but somehow it doesn't matter because
That's a good point.
they're
Yeah.
still on
But-
cable in New York. because
Yeah,
of
that's
it.
true. Yeah.
Steve, who's your
Right,
favorite
and
Rutgers
that's
player?
I don't know
Sudsy.
that.
what I
So
thought.
what's your point, basically? That they brought in a couple of patsies?
Yeah, Greg,
to-
what's your point?
That's my point. That it was
Right.
convenient both for dollars and cents, but also competitively to pad the schedules. Because
Yeah.
there's no chance that Rutgers is ever going to develop into being a really good football program that challenges the others.
Ever?
Ever.
Yeah. I have to agree.
I mean, if Illinois can't do it, surely Rutgers
Yeah.
isn't going to.
They'll have a year where they'll make a run and they'll challenge some teams, but that's about it.
Yeah, get to a bowl perhaps. But,
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy into that only because I don't know that the people in charge, I think their greed outweighs every other considerations. So
you don't. Yeah,
is it
you're probably right.
Is it a nice thing that they can get out of it too? Yeah, but I don't think it had anything to do with the motivation for making those moves. I just think they're too greedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
You're probably right.
I feel like they would have picked Notre Dame over Rutgers if they could have.
If they,
Yeah, if Notre
Yeah.
Dame would have come in, they'd have
Yeah.
got them in a heartbeat.
That would have been
absolutely.
awesome.
Ray Bentley with us. Ray, how about, so you think Michigan wins against Rutgers? That seems pretty likely. Now, your Spartans struggled a little bit with Indiana, but Indiana plays everyone pretty tough lately. Spartans on the road at Northwestern in Evanston this weekend. What do you think?
Yeah, that's going to be I think, a really good ball game coming down to the wire type thing again. But the Spartans seem to have a little something left in their craw. They're like on this revenge tour.
They are.
Northwestern is just up next, so I kind of like him. I think Lewerke's getting better. I think that defense has really come around. They're kind of growing up before our very eyes. So I think they'll find a way. I don't think they'll blow anybody out here just yet, but they'll find a way. I think they'll get this one.
I find that D'Antonio teams are scarier when he starts to look scary and mad.
Yeah, when he seems mad. Yeah,
I mean, he always kind of looks that way, but you know that look like, okay, now I'm irritated.
Yeah.
I did a game. I did the game when Central Michigan went in there and beat the Spartans the one year, and then I had to come back like a week or two later, and he had seen me down on the field celebrating with the Central Michigan guys, and he gave me that look, and I'm like, hey, well, what's the problem? And he goes, well, I guess everybody's got to be from somewhere.
I guess everybody's got to be from somewhere.
Yeah.
What's the hardest you've ever seen Mark D'Antonio laugh? Like this?
I might have caught one of those. I saw him smile once.
Yeah.
I think it was because he had gas more than anything.
So maybe it was just a grimace.
Yeah.
I like when he says something he knows is going to stir the pot, and he kind of gives a wry smile, like, all right, go put that one in the papers and on the websites and on Twitter.
It's a little Saban-y.
He likes to eat canaries. He gets that look on his face.
Yes, absolutely.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Now, Michigan's at home this weekend, but they have complained about some of their locker rooms on the road. Ray, what is the worst road locker room you've seen?
Oh, man. Funny you should ask, but there's several over the course of my illustrious career that I've had to deal with. I guess the one that looked the worst was at Cleveland's old stadium, the Mistake by the Lake.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all ever had
The Mistake by the Lake.
No, I never had the pleasure to go there.
No.
Well, the nice thing is we each got our own rusty nail to hang our clothes on. So
Okay.
that was cool.
That is nice.
And then, I don't know, they might have cleaned that place up after WW2. I'm not sure, but it was nasty.
Okay.
And then they had 3 showers. Actually, 3 shower heads, I should say. One didn't work, and the other 2 were the coldest showers I've ever seen in my
So
life.
it was like for true torture purposes for the opposition.
That was pretty nasty.
Water
and then
right
there
out of
was-
Lake Erie.
No.
Yeah, it hits your skin and immediately catches on fire.
Yep, and then your fist grows an eyeball. and,
I
things
drank
leak out of
extra
your
water
face.
those days.
Yeah.
Hey, Ray, so those
But
are obviously... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say I got a couple more. There was remember the vet back in Philadelphia for years and years.
Oh yeah,
Worst playing surface I ever played on. But their locker room when we played there in 1987, they were undergoing a little refurbishment, if you want to call it that. It was a construction site basically, and they had one kind of makeshift wall. And as I'm getting dressed, I noticed a couple guys over there. Now, listen, I'm no peeping Tom. I might be a peeping Ray, but I know it when I see it.
Right?
yeah.
So I look over there, and sure enough, there are about 3 or 4 guys, and they're starting to push each other so that they can get their eye up to the wall. So, the commotion attracts some attention. Next thing, there's about 20 guys fighting to get a look-see through this hole in the wall that looks into the cheerleaders' locker room.
Like Porky's?
Yeah, like Porky's.
And it's going on in there. So, guys are getting serious. A fist fight almost broke out. Now, at first, I thought it was kind of funny, right? But I'm like, wait a minute, man. We got a football game coming up here, and these guys are playing grab ass and trying to, see some ass, I guess. So I went over there with Freddie Smurls. We're like, hey, come on, guys, break this up. And they're like, a couple of them argued and stuff, so they left, and me and Freddie got a great. It was awesome.
You cleared everyone out.
Next thing you know, you're on the receiving end of a pulling by Beulah Ballbreaker.
Yeah.
Just like Porky.
Hey, a pulling's a pulling, though, Ray. Ray, was anybody erect while that was happening?
Other than myself, I didn't notice.
Oh,
To be honest.
Yeah, let's hope not.
What was the best amenity because you played in a different era. Now home locker rooms are luxurious places with
crazy.
all of the amenities, anything you can imagine.
well, if Phil Knight went to your school, that's better than an NFL locker room.
Oregon's, I didn't see their football arena, but their basketball arena, it's nicer than most homes I've been into. Ray, what was the best amenity in the best home locker room you had in the era you played?
It was walled toilets.
That's it.
Wall toilets.
As opposed to ones where it's like 4 toilets just in a row?
We went to Toledo, the Glass Bowl, and we drove the morning of the game. And I had to drop lunch since, like, I don't know, St. John's or whatever. I mean, I was dying.
So forever.
So I worked my way up to the front of the bus. And as soon as that door opened, I sprinted out of there, and I was going to get the prime seat, and it was an emergency situation. So I come flying into the locker room, and I look around, and in the corner, they have 3 stools, and they are so tight to each other. There's no way you can sit on that thing, and if someone's sitting next to you, you're touching them.
Oh, yuck.
Oh.
And so I took the one in the corner. And there's no coverage, so I'm sitting there.
No coverage.
You ever watch your dog and look in his eyes when he's dropping one?
Yeah.
I must have
All
had
the
that
time.
dog look.
Yeah, I'm
Next
sure.
thing I know, they're throwing stuff at me. They're laughing at me.
Oh, no.
But shortly after, several others had to do their thing, so they got them too. But yeah, that's a nice amenity to have walled stalls.
It seems pretty basic. Can you imagine LeBron and Dwayne Wade sitting next to each other on the can and in Cleveland right now?
Actually, I can.
Yeah, right.
I feel like they have a different relationship.
Square.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, actually.
Ray,
Knee to knee.
So those were obviously terrible facilities. Did you ever get screwed with when you were a visiting team? When you were on the visiting team?
Like by
Not
fans
when
or
I
somebody else?
played.
No, by the
when
team.
I coached.
Oh.
When I coached, we went to Toronto, and in arena football, the visiting team puts you up in a hotel. Well, our game was at 7:00 at night, and they didn't extend our hotel. They kicked us out of our rooms at noon.
What?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so we had some pretty pissed off dudes. We killed them. I wished every team would have done that to us because we were quite angry by the time we showed up over there.
bet.
What did you do? Go to a movie?
You know what? A couple of my coaches thought I was kidding, and they were watching a movie in the room, and they refused to leave, and they had to pay for another night. But that's their business. But no, they gave us a community room, and we could sit in there, and then the guys just went about town and everything.
What a drag.
They're
though.
adults. I wasn't going to babysit them at that point.
Yeah, that's
pro
true.
football.
Yeah, if they want to go to the Stompin' Tom Museum, you let them.
Do whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's arena. I mean, come on. It's basically a backyard game of Nerf.
Yeah, arena was something now.
Yeah. Ray, where are we with the Lions? Because they looked good, but they were flawed. And then once the turnover margin started to fade and they started to come back to earth, because at first I think there had been 6 fumbles and they recovered all of them. And at some point you're going to get around 50-50, and their offense still can't get it done. And now they're playing the Steelers, who are playing really well. Where's your hope level? Do you have one?
Oh man, I'm confused right now. I don't know who they are. I don't know who most of the NFL is right now. It's just one of the strangest seasons I can recall, where the inconsistency week to week from just about everybody is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to call that parity, but I don't know who's going to show up week to week. I think that they have the talent. They got a lot of good things going for them, but God, they're still the Lions, and
That's what it
gotta
is.
forget who they are, because they always find a way to screw things up, it seams.
They've always had the talent. They've had the number one.
I'm hopeful. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
They'll probably get killed by the Steelers. So
Probably.
but because that's the thought, they'll probably win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I thought
it's
they'd
like crazy.
get killed by the Falcons, and they hung around in that game, nearly won it. Probably won it, but it didn't count. But it feels like, I know they have, but it feels like they've never beaten the Steelers in my lifetime. It feels like they've lost every game to them, regardless of circumstance, even in a year where they had the better team and they went to the playoffs and the Steelers stunk. It seems like the Steelers have beaten them every time.
Is there a team they have that they've never beaten? ever?
No, they've beat. I think
Have they at least
unless it's some
once?
expansion team
Yeah.
or whatever. But at
I
one
don't know.
point before
Have they beat the Steelers?
I don't know.
They've never beaten the Steelers.
You're on board.
Yeah, that's a new fact for me. I don't care if it's fake news or not. That's how I feel.
That's how I feel.
I'm gonna try
hey,
to
if it's how
find
you
out.
feel, it's good enough for me. It's what I know now.
I know before the
Right.
Buccaneers got good and won the Super Bowl, the Buccaneers had a winning record against only one of the NFL teams, and it was against Detroit.
What?
And I mean, they were considered at the time like the flagship for the worst franchise in football. And
Yeah,
only-
they wore the creamsicle uniforms, for
Yes.
God's sake.
Yeah. I mean, it was terrible.
How are the Bills? Can you at least, forget about the Lions and go for the Bills? Or they suck too?
Yeah, I do that when the Bills win. I'm a big Bills fan.
Of course.
When they lose, I'm just like every other Bills fan. Get them out of town. They're the worst.
Oh, if
Believe
they
it-
lose, you got nothing.
Believe it or not, the Lions and Steelers have met 31 times. The Pittsburgh Steelers lead the series 16-14-1.
Wow.
The last Lions win in the series was the Thanksgiving Day game where the bus called heads and the referee said tails. And then they got the coin toss wrong.
Yeah.
Or if it was tails, then heads, whatever. And so the Lions got the ball and the Steelers were mad. The Lions won that game in overtime. Since then, the Steelers have won 4 straight by an average margin of 1-0.
Since 1963, they are 12, or rather 2-12.
Yeah. So, yeah, like during,
Since 1963.
Yeah, so in our lifetime.
So in our lifetime, yeah, it is a rare occurrence. The only one we
had
could
to
have.
cheat
Yeah.
and get the officials in on it in order to beat them in overtime.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
yeah.
Billy
What year
Sims
was
and the
that?
Detroit Lions demolished them in 1983.
I bet you that was a Thanksgiving Day game.
45 to 3, yeah.
Was
Take
that,
that.
That
the,
was Thanksgiving,
another
yeah.
one,
November
Fight the
24th.
Dust?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been that era. I
Let's
was
check
just
that box
just
score.
a kid.
Yeah, that worked out real well for about 4 weeks. And
It did. Eric
Yep.
Hipple had a nice day that day. Threw it all over the yard 18 times for 153 yards.
yeah.
Oh, my
That was back in the
gosh.
wide open
was.
offense days. you know.
Bill- But this was back when you'd hand it to a running back 26 times, even if he's only getting 4 yards a carry.
I'm
Billy Sims ran it 26 times for 106 yards.
Quite honestly, I'm pretty proud of the fact that I said Billy Sims with a big day before I saw anything.
I'm
that I
pretty
remembered that
impressed.
Billy Sims was when he was there. I'm
You're
not
a
a great
veritable
sports.
encyclopedia,
I'm
bro.
not a great sports
It
mind.
was probably like 1 second later, his knee exploded.
Probably,
And that was the end of that run.
probably.
And I'm sure right after I asked for a jersey. Well, we'll see on Sunday. Ray, good to talk to you as always. Look forward to next week. We'll talk about 3 wins, Michigan, Michigan State, and the Lions.
Real quick, Ray.
Beautiful. And hey, check me out tonight. I'm on ESPNU 7:30. I got a big old Fun Belt Conference game between Georgia State and South Alabama, 2 huge powers down here in the South. So
How's
check us
bragging
out.
camp going?
So are you in Mobile?
I'm actually in Georgia, in Atlanta.
Oh, in Atlanta. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
Oh,
Ray, we were wondering earlier, we know you're working on the autobiography. Are you writing another kid's book?
I have a couple in the works, as a matter of fact.
You do? Darby the Dinosaur?
I don't know. Darby might go extinct.
Oh, no.
I got a new one. It's called the what the hell is it? I can't even think of the name of it right now.
Tommy
but
the
it's about
T-Rex?
yeah.
it's really good. and
Steve
it's
the
gonna be
Stegosaurus?
awesome, I can tell you that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bobby the
yeah.
Brontosaurus.
Oh, yeah.
I like it.
Ronnie the Raptor.
Hey, wait a minute. Keep going. You're coming up with some good ones.
Yeah, there's some
Whoa,
really,
we're
really
not
good
very
ones
clever.
here. Yeah.
Dwani Diplodocus.
That sounds-
Okay, we're
It's
done.
not a Yep, that's it.
Thank you, Ray.
That's it.
Thank you.
Have fun tonight.
See ya.
Ray Bentley.
Someone.
Diplodocus.
Diplodocus.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't know what that is.
It's a cloud, right?
Yep.
A diplodocus is
Isn't it
they've
like
got
a-
kind of a duck face sort of
Oh.
a bill.
I do know what it is.
A water sore.
Yeah.
A what?
A dinosaur that was made for the water.
Oh.
I don't think
Were you like the kid who loved dinosaurs?
No.
I think they were land based
just
though, but
the
they were
show.
just around water a lot.
Let's check this
I think.
out. I know it's got a badass name.
Yeah.
Were all of your favorite dinosaurs based on food birds?
Food birds.
Oh, someday that'll be poultry.
I don't know what that means.
No. My favorite...
You don't have to answer that unfair, stupid question. You don't have to research and go, no, my favorite dinosaur is this. Soundgarden.
It's the one with the club on its tail. I loved that thing.
Thought that was an ankylosaurus.
Hot Wings is even a know-it-all about dinosaurs?
Yeah, no
Are you kidding?
Throw kids.
Hey.